The year is 1912. The world watched as the RMS Titanic, a marvel of engineering.
Over 3 years, thousands of workers poured their skill into this colossal vessel. It was the largest moving object ever built by human hands.
On April 10th, 1912, Titanic journey from Sankt's journey to New York. The voices.
Below the decks, the ship was a floating palace, offering unparalleled luxury for the wealthy.
But the unsinkable myth was about to be shattered. A series of critical human errors and design flaws sealed the ship's tragic fate.
The Titanic was not just a passenger liner, it was a statement.
Captain Edward Smith, a respected veteran, was under immense pressure to maintain high speed and impress the world with a quick crossing.
Despite being in a known ice zone, the captain maintained a near maximum speed of 22 knots. This was the first fatal mistake.
The North Atlantic was unusually cold that year, pushing a vast field of icebergs further south into the shipping lanes. Navigating at this speed in these conditions was a reckless gamble. The ship's fate was now dependent on perfect visibility and reaction time.
The Titanic was equipped with the latest Marconi wireless system. This technology was meant to be a lifeline, but it became a liability.
At least 6 separate iceberg warnings were sent to the Titanic in the hours leading up to the collision. All were disregarded. The nearby SS Californian had stopped for the night, completely surrounded by ice. They sent a critical warning to the Titanic.
Urgent warning was cut short. The Titanic's operator, busy with
The priority was clear. Paying passengers' social messages took precedence over navigational safety warnings, a fatal error in judgment.
The ship sailed on, unaware that the most critical warning had been dismissed. The final hours of the Titanic were ticking away. High above the deck, the lookouts were the ship's only defense. Their eyes were the final barrier between safety and disaster.
In a stunning oversight, the binoculars for the lookouts were missing. They were locked away, and the key was left in Southampton. Without binoculars, the lookouts' effective range was severely limited. They were forced to rely on their naked eyes in the dark, cold night.
At 11:40 p.m., lookout Frederick Fleet spotted a dark mass directly ahead.
The message was relayed to the bridge. Iceberg right ahead. The officer on watch, First Officer Murdoch, had mere seconds to react.
Murdoch gave the order, hard a starboard and full astern to reverse the engines. But the ship was too large and moving too fast.
The bow missed the main mass, but the sheer size of the ship meant the iceberg scraped along the starboard side, causing the fatal damage. The damage was not a single, catastrophic hole, but a series of small breaches across the first 5 watertight. The Titanic was designed to stay afloat with any 4 of its 16 compartments flooded. But with 5,
Thomas Andrews, the ship's designer, was quickly summoned. His verdict was immediate and devastating. The Titanic had only an hour or 2 left.
The 4th mistake was in the very material. Many of the rivets used in the hull were made of low-grade, brittle wrought iron, not steel. Instead of the steel plates bending, the brittle iron rivets simply snapped. This created small openings. The RMS Carpathia, under Captain Rostron, was the closest ship to respond. They immediately turned and
Tragically, the Californian was just miles away, but its radio operator was asleep. The crew saw the flares but failed to recognize the distress.
Initially, there was little panic. Passengers were told the ship was simply stopping due to a minor issue. The band continued to play.
The 5th and most unforgivable mistake was the lack of lifeboats. The Titanic carried only 20, enough for just over a third of its capacity.
The ship technically complied with outdated 1894 regulations. They were required to carry enough for 1,060 people.
The order to evacuate was finally given, but the crew was poorly trained and many passengers still believed the ship was true.
The 6th mistake was the poor execution of the evacuation. Many lifeboats were launched half-empty, wasting precious space and time.
Many passengers were reluctant to board, fearing the long, dangerous drop to the water. They preferred the perceived safety of the massive ship.
The rule of women and children first was enforced, but inconsistently. This led to confusion and further delays in the loading process.
The class system persisted even in the face of death. First-class passengers had a significantly higher survival rate than those in third class. The bow was now fully submerged, and the massive stern began to rise into the cold night sky.
The internal power failed. The ship's lights went out, plunging the remaining passengers into terrifying absolute. The immense stress on the hull was too much. The Titanic broke in two, the stern section settling briefly. The stern rose to a near vertical position, a final, haunting silhouette against the stars, before it too slipped beneath the waves.
The sound that followed was described as a massive, collective scream, a sound that haunted the survivors for the rest of their lives.
The North Atlantic water was a deadly, -2 degrees Celsius. Survival time in this extreme cold was measured.
The cold was the true killer. Most of the people in the water did not drown. They succumbed to rapid. Most of the lifeboats rowed away, terrified of being swamped by the drowning. Only one, Lifeboat 4, returned to attempt a rescue.
At 4:10 a.m., the Carpathia arrived. They found a scene of utter devastation, picking up the 705 survivors from the lifeboats.
The sun rose on an empty ocean. The Titanic was gone, and with it, 1,017.
The news of the sinking sent shockwaves across the globe. The loss of the Titanic was a devastating blow to human confidence and pride.
Immediate inquiries were launched in both the United States and Great Britain. The world demanded answers. How could this happen?
Survivor testimony revealed the full extent of the failures. The inquiries exposed a shocking complacency and a disregard for safety regulations.
The obsession with speed was a direct cause. Had the Titanic been traveling slower, it might have avoided the ice or survived the impact.
The failure of the wireless operators to cove dead-proof element.
As a direct result, the Radio Act of 1912 mandated a 24-hour radio watch on all passenger ships. Wireless silence was no longer an option.
The tragedy also forced a change in lifeboat regulations. Every ship must now carry enough lifeboats for every single person on board.
The disaster led to the creation of the International Convention for the Safety of Life at Sea, or SOLAS, which governs maritime safety today.
CERNASTOM. The International Ice Patrol was established to monitor icebergs in the North Atlantic. This system prevents ships.
Beyond the regulations, the true cost was human. The disaster remains a painful reminder of the fragility of life and the consequences of hubris.
The Titanic was not sunk by a single iceberg. It was sunk by a chain of 6 critical mistakes. For decades, the wreck of the Titanic remained lost. The deep ocean held the secret, and the search for the final resting place began.
The discovery confirmed the ship had broken in two. The bow and stern sections lay separated by over 600 meters on the ocean floor.
The bow section remains remarkably intact, a haunting monument to the 1,500 souls lost. The stern section, however, is a chaotic jumble. It was destroyed by the forces of the breakup and the violent impact with the ocean floor.
The debris field is a time capsule, holding thousands of artifacts. Each item tells a
Englands. The wreck is slowly but surely directors estimate that within its.
The Titanic's legacy is a constant, powerful warning. It taught the world that no human creation is truly unsinkable.
Place. The sinking of the Titanic was a lesson in hubris. It proved that human arrogance and overconfidence can.
The story of the Titanic endures, not just as a tragedy, but as a complex narrative of human failure.
We must continue to study this disaster. The mistakes of the past are only valuable if we learn from them and apply those lessons today.
If you found this analysis compelling, please subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into history's most fascinating and tragic events.